The reason why conventional wisdom and conventional thought is so powerful and so strong is because so many of us believe in it. When so many people believe in the same system, the same idea, it becomes fact. It becomes, this is actually how life is, like gravity. You don't question whether there's gravity because there's gravity for everyone. But in the world of medicine and research and science, there's always new research that's coming out that is negating old research. And we see this all over the place, especially in Silicon Valley, and you see it in medicine, and you see it in new technologies that come out. So it's really tough if you believe something and a new peer-reviewed paper comes out that says actually what you believe is wrong. And I'm bringing this up because most people have this belief called investing is really complicated. And so they hire people who also believe that investing is really complicated. Or if they want to do it themselves with pick of the month newsletters or weekend workshops, they create a very complicated approach to investing. And one of the things I work on with my private elite clients, and actually anyone who will listen to me, is to point out to them that, in fact, investing or money itself is actually pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. It may not be easy to follow the simple practice, but it's really simple. And when people are pushed up against this, they push back because they just can't believe that investing could be so straightforward or so clear. So in this week, what I want to do is I want to talk about a couple things, and I don't want to reveal what they are yet. But one of the main things is to talk about how we have this deep desire to create complexity in our lives because it actually makes us feel safe, because we believe that life, especially investing in money, is really complicated. And so I want to look at that and look at a couple charts and have you come to your own conclusion to see if, in fact, things are complicated or not. And I don't mean whether you still believe it or not, but just looking at those charts and having them kind of maybe reframe what you believe might be true. So before we get to that, I want to talk about something that has to do with the government. And by doing that, I want to compare the government to Silicon Valley. And one of the reasons why I moved to Silicon Valley in 1998, specifically June 19th, 1998, is because everything Silicon Valley is about, everything it's about challenging conventional wisdom, challenging conventional thoughts at every turn. And I love that. It challenges themselves within Silicon Valley, challenges people and organizations and companies outside of Silicon Valley. It challenges the world on these, conventional thoughts that they have, that we have. And I love that about Silicon Valley. So Twitter was started in 2006, and between 2006 to 2011, it took about $360 million in funding. Twitter is going to become a publicly traded company soon, and many people believe that it will IPO at about a $15 billion company. That's Twitter. The second company, Instagram, took about $58 million in funding, and I believe that company was about 19 months old when it was sold to Facebook for $1 billion, but they had about $58 million in funding. Then you have LinkedIn that took about $200 million in funding before they went public, and today they're about a $25 billion publicly traded company, and there's about a $200 million funding process for LinkedIn. Spotify took about $288 million so far. And then you have this company called Facebook that needed or took about $600 million in funding between 2004 to 2010. And here we are in 2013, and that company is worth over $100 billion. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you have an independent group of people that can think freely and can challenge conventional wisdom, pretty amazing things can happen. Now, I want to compare that all with healthcare.gov. And healthcare.gov, which is the Affordable Care Act website, needed $634 million in funding. And by the first day it was open, it cost $634 million in funding. And it is a complete mess. The HTML is crap. It doesn't work. People who do want to buy, and just crap is a economics term. It is complete crap. People who do want to buy can't buy. They're froze out, or they're frozen out of it. It is absolutely a complete mess. This is what happens when you put government in control of things. I am completely against the Affordable Care Act. I do not think we should put the government in front of, in charge of anything else. I think all, 403 national monuments or parks were closed. Every single one of those should be put into a 501c3 and have a group of people manage those on their own. The government absolutely cannot manage almost anything. And I think the government is too big, and I'm against anything that makes the government bigger. Now, I have no problem helping out people. In fact, I do a lot of it. So does Burgess. We give a lot away to our local community to make it better. But I think keeping the government out of it is very important. I'm bringing this up because there was this little show going on the last couple of weeks about shutdown and default. And I just want to point out the government shutdown and defaulting on debt are completely two different things. The Treasury brings in hundreds of millions of dollars of income every month, so they have no problem paying out their, I think it's $17 trillion in debt. But, I'm actually kind of for the government shutting down again. And I'm not trying to be arrogant here or sarcastic, but you know what? I think it should get shut down. I think it should not be running with a deficit. And, if it's shut down a little bit longer, I think those 400 parks and monuments around the country, pretty soon groups would have gotten together, made them all nonprofits, and they would have never been shut down again. They'd be cleaner. They'd be better operated. The government is inefficient. It does not create anything. It takes money and it spends it. And it doesn't, nowhere in there are they creating, something. They're literally taking and spending. Now, I will get done with my rant in a second, but not without showing my favorite image. They thought the government was here to help. Absolutely not. I know most of you know the government can't help, but it's just a good reminder. The government is the definition of complexity and complication, and they cannot help. So I'm rolling this into this idea of complexity. Now I have a couple of charts I want to show you, because investing does not have to be complex. And the more I'm in this business, the business of helping people grow their net worth. And if you ask me what the business is that I'm not in the stock picking business. I'm not even in the investment business. I'm in the business of helping people. Specifically, I help people who know how to earn well, people who earn $200,000, $300,000 a year. Okay, but they're not getting ahead. They've done everything right. They've gone to college. They probably got their master's degree. Maybe they even got their PhD. They got married. They bought the house, right? They figured out how to generate revenue, generate income, but their net worth is not growing, and there's a stuck feeling. And part of the reason there's a stuck feeling is because their lifestyle, their expenses, their overhead are growing as fast or faster than their income is growing. So they don't see that point in the future where they get to choose to not work. And that's not just about investing or growing and protecting money. It's about income. It's about saving some of that income. It's about being on the same page with your spouse. It's about being very clear on which direction your financial life is moving. And yes, it's of course about challenging conventional wisdom. So Benjamin Graham is considered considered the grandfather of really investing. And he was asked a question way, way, way back in 1976. And the question is, Mr. Graham, in selecting the common stock portfolio, do you advise careful study of and selectivity among different issues? Basically, a lot of research. And his answer was no. I'm no longer an advocate of elaborate techniques of security analysis. This was a rewarding activity 40 years ago. That was 1936. But the situation has changed a great deal since then in the light of the enormous amount of research. Again, remember, this is 40 plus years ago. Amount of research now being carried on. I doubt whether in most cases such extensive effort, that's that keyword effort, complexity, will generate sufficiently superior selections to justify their costs. So the grandfather of really investing, saying, hey, you know what? All of that work, all that effort, all that complexity, I'm not sure it's worth it anymore. But you know what is worth it? Something so simple, something so easy. It is so obvious. It is so difficult to see, because the obvious is very difficult to see. That's why people have a problem having clarity with their money. So here's a price chart of the S&P 500. with what about 10 moving averages. And what I love about having all these moving averages on there is it allows your brain to quickly and immediately see what the direction is. And I want to be really clear here. There's only two types of investments on this planet. There's investments that are trending, right? They can trend up and they can trend down. And there's investments that aren't trending or going sideways. So let's just drop investments that are trending down for a second. So you have stocks or investments that are trending up and you have ones that are going sideways. If you want to grow your money, very simple, may not be easy, but very simple. You want to find things that are trending up because after all, that's how you make your money grow. Compare this price chart of the S&P 500, which is clearly trending up, to this price chart, which is a company called IBM. Now, we don't need to know much about what's going on with IBM, do we? Other than looking at this price chart and saying something's not working with IBM. For whatever reason, IBM has gone from $216 a share down to $173 a share. Now, we don't need to research why it's happening or how their sales are doing in Asia or China or Europe or even the US. All we need to do is go, the price is going in the wrong direction. And just look how confusing this price chart is with those moving averages above and then below and then below and then above. This is a complete mess. In order to grow money effectively, efficiently, you want to go with the direction it's already going. And there's nothing easier to do than to look at a price chart that is incorporating all the information that's out there in the world and telling you really simply which direction the price is going. And assume one day then you will be wrong, so you'll have to have some sort of mechanism to alert you, to signal you that you are wrong, so you don't take the stock down 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100%. It's about doing what works best. It's about challenging yourself and asking yourself where you have conventional thoughts, where you're thinking conventionally. Not to make yourself wrong, but to point out how you can yourself accelerate your net worth, accelerate your wealth, get clarity around your money, get on the same page with your spouse, and challenge conventional wisdom and grow that money that you've saved. Now, for over 15 years, I think it'll be 16 years, June of next year, my sole focus in working with people is really having them understand and focused and showing them which direction their net worth is moving. And I just talked with a prospective client today, and I was saying, I measure everything on results, not effort, not how much time I spend with people, but results. And for me, results are really simple in the sense that I look at someone's overall net worth, and there's only a couple ingredients that go into a person's net worth. Stock market money being one of them. If they own a house, the value of the house going up and down, their savings going up or down, how much they make, how much they save. All of those things drive. There's actually not many things that drive the direction of someone's net worth. So I'm taking on some new clients, and if you find yourself stuck, and here's the problem with the clients I work with, when you make $300,000 a year, you can't tell anyone that you're stuck. You can't say, I'm the working rich. And living in Silicon Valley for almost 16 years, the valley's filled with tens of thousands of working rich people, literally people making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, even more. They're not getting ahead. And it's not because of their intelligence or of their ability to earn. It's because they don't have that clarity, because they're not on the same page with their spouse, and because they have not challenged conventional wisdom in the way that their money is being protected and grown. So if you find yourself maybe identifying with part of that, the next step is really easy. Just pick up the phone. No one picks up the phone anymore. Log into your email account and just email Patty at Fearless Wealth, Patty at Fearless Wealth, and say, hey, I'm interested to see if I qualify. I might be one of those working rich, though you don't need to say that in the email, because it's about getting to this place called more than enough and being more than enough. And when you're in the place called more than enough and you live a life called more than enough, that means you're the difference maker for your community, for your organization, for your family. Do you know what I mean when I say difference maker? You're the person that makes a difference in other people's lives and other people's organizations. That is being alive. That's really living alive, and it's a pretty amazing place to live. And living in more than enough is not necessarily about a set dollar amount, but it's about knowing that your overhead and your lifestyle is taken care of, and you can focus on what you really love doing. You guys have a great weekend. We will have a good weekend here. Bowen has soccer tomorrow, which, let's be very clear, he does not like soccer. He likes the snack at the end of soccer, so we will not be continuing soccer. My kids are doing great. Ever is doing absolutely fabulous at her school. She does a 2-day-a-week school, and is just, it's so great being able to have a boy and a girl, not only seeing the difference in raising two different genders, but their personalities could not be more different. And though it is the most difficult thing I've ever done, I always also get those rewarding moments throughout the day that make it all worth it. So I hope you guys have parts of that in your life where you find those areas that are rewarding. Hug your kids, your spouse, your grandkids, people that you like, and I'll speak to you next week. Take care.